Welcome to another episode of Reading with Joey. I'm your host, Joey McGurvels, and this continues our series on Jewish cultural terrorism. Today we're going to be looking at Sigmund Freud and psychology, exactly what it is, and examining it in relation to the effect that Jewish cultural terrorism has had on modern society. Specifically, we're going to be looking at excerpts from Freud's book, The Interpretation of Dreams, which was published in 1899. All right, so going to Freud's words. I myself had walked in Hannibal's footsteps. Like him, I was destined never to see Rome, and he too had gone to Campania when all were expecting him in Rome. Hannibal, with whom I had achieved this point of similarity, had been my favorite hero during my years at the gymnasium school. Like so many boys of my age, I bestowed my sympathies in the Punic War not on the Romans, but on the Carthaginians. Moreover, when I finally came to realize the consequences of belonging to an alien race and was forced by the anti-Semitic feeling among my classmates to take a definite stand, the figure of the Semitic commander, Hannibal, assumed still greater proportions in my imagination. Hannibal and Rome symbolized, in my youthful eyes, the struggle between the tenacity of the Jews and the organization of the Catholic Church. Unquote. We're going to stop there and look at what was just said. Huge statement. So, the point of this was he's talking about Hannibal. Hannibal, the famous general who tried to invade and conquer Rome. Hannibal was seen as a monster, the same way, we see Bin Laden, I guess, in modern American society. Parents would tell their kids if they didn't behave, if they didn't go to bed on time, Hannibal was going to come get them. He was like a boogeyman, okay? And so, at the schools, these kids are hearing, about Hannibal and how terrible he is. And just to show how degenerate Freud was, he totally takes the opposite version and admires the villain. He admires the villain in this story. And why he says that he admires the villain is because the villain is the one who, was a member of this alien race, as Freud says. And, this is Freud's own words. Hannibal and Rome symbolized, in my youthful eyes, the struggle between the tenacity of the Jews and the organization of the Catholic Church. So, we talk about, what Rome symbolizes. Rome symbolizes the organization of the Catholic Church. And Hannibal, in Freud's interpretation, symbolizes this tenacity of the Jews, this doggedness. It's unrepenting. It just keeps coming. Going back to Freud, and going back over that statement again, just because it's so profound. Hannibal and Rome symbolized, in my youthful eyes, the struggle between the tenacity of the Jews and the organization of the Catholic Church. The significance for our emotional life, which the anti-Semitic movement has since assumed, helped to fix the thoughts and impressions of those earlier days. Thus, the desire to go to Rome has, in my dream life, become the mask and symbol for a number of warmly cherished wishes, for whose realization one had to work with the tenacity and single-mindedness of the Punic general, though their fulfillment at times seemed as remote as Hannibal's lifelong wish to enter Rome. And now, for the first time, I happened upon the youthful experience which, even today, still expresses its power in all these emotions and dreams. I might have been 10 or 12 years old when my father began to take me with him on his walks, and in his conversation to reveal his views on the things of this world. Thus, it was that he once told me the following incident in order to show me that I had been born into happier times than he. This is Freud's father speaking to him. When I was a young man, I was walking one Saturday along the street in the village where you were born. I was well dressed with a new fur cap on my head. Up comes a Christian who knocks my cap in the mud and shouts, "Jew, get off the pavement." "And what did you do?" His father replied, "I went into the street, picked up my cap." He calmly replied. That did not seem heroic on the part of the big strong man who was leading me, a little fellow, by the hand. I contrasted the situation, which did not please me, with another, more in harmony with my sentiments. The scene in which Hannibal's father, Hamilcar Barcus, made his sons swear before the household altar to take vengeance on the Romans. Ever since then, Hannibal has had a place in my fantasies. Okay, so this is going back to Freud's dream. And he's talking about this experience he had as a child, where he was walking with his dad. His dad tells him about experiences he had when he was a kid. And Freud's dad says, "Oh, the mean anti-Semites came and told me to get off the pavement and threw my hat into the mud." And Freud basically compares this to Hannibal's scene where Hannibal is with his father and he swore on the household altar to take vengeance on the Romans. Ever since then, Hannibal had a place in Freud's fantasies, meaning that Freud saw himself. He saw this memory as the moment where he too swore on his family altar, on his Jewish altar, to take vengeance on the Romans. Well, who are the Romans? Who are they? He mentioned it before. The Romans, it's the Catholic organization. It's the Catholic people. Catholicism symbolizes Rome. It represents Rome. And in this experience, in this moment, Freud admits that it's in his fantasies to conquer Rome, to take vengeance on the Romans. So this helps put into perspective exactly what Freud's goals were and what he was trying to accomplish by promoting psychology, which is definitely a form of Jewish cultural terrorism. Thank you for joining us in this episode. Please check back for future episodes.